And there we are. Now we're live. Hi, everybody.
Well, it'll be up to them to tell us if we are or aren't.
Well, they got to be good for something.
Stuart, if you actually click... oh. You actually clicked live, right? Oh.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Once I do click live, the audience can tell us if we're live because, other than that, what are they really good for, right?
Oh.
What are they good for? Absolutely nothing. Say again.
Except clever feedback and good comments and being handsome, because that's what... Oh, hey! Looks like we're live. What? Shocking. I'm so glad you got to hear us compliment you all.
Adrian says, no, we can't see or hear you, which makes me think that they probably can. Would be my hope. But don't say that because it really gives us PTSD because you never know.
Yes.
We're good. All right, cool. All right, guys. So, yes, we're looking at episode 16 today of season 4. Wow.
Yeah, almost
like
to season
halfway.
5.
Yeah. Damn. It's down.
And then obviously then we'll start. I mean, we're almost at the point where I need to decide if we're co-watching DS9 and Voyager as they shift in and out. So I'm kind of inclined to start them at the right time rather than, because otherwise it's like time travel. You go forward then back rather than all the same. That's why I should always watch Stargate in the conventional order, because otherwise, the technology, you spoil it. Especially SG-1 to Atlantis, because it's like, wow, we won that war, did we? We didn't know that, because it takes all the stress out of these, Definitely decided we watched in unison.
Well, I won't be watching that way, so. Anyway.
Well, please do when you get to SG-1 Atlantis, because it'll legitimately be confusing if you don't. I know you've seen some Atlantis, but it'd be a waste of your time if you didn't. Just saying. Do it the right way. Make the right choice. For your children, your children's children. For everyone's children.
All right. Anyway, we got 2 super chats already, which is great. Ozzy throws in $5.
Thank you.
All hail the superior commander and super captain Foley. So you sour the mic. I mean, milk. He put mic. Okie dokie, skeleton hands. And then he puts in another $5 and says, so you sour the milk. And he gets it right. He even has a milk glass. Okie dokie, skeleton hands. So he's fancy now.
Fancy super chats. Well, I'm going to start sharing 45 people. When I come back, I want to see 45 likes. So I'm going to say 46. I want to match them reviews to likes. So 36, 10 more. That is the challenge. So
he'll be gone for like a minute or two while he shares, guys. So you got time. So hit that like button. Don't want to disappoint him when he gets back. I disappoint him all the other times. So anyway, guys, hit that like button. Also, super chats are a great way to support the channel, as you guys know. Plus, you get your comment read, I said that already, your question answered, all that jazz, and really become known to the community and to us. And that's really great. Like, we've met some really great people that join us regularly for these lives on here. So if you want to be part of that, please consider super chatting, as it does support the channel and helps us out and gets you some recognition as well. Also, don't forget that you can send us PayPal. The information for the PayPal is down below the description of every video, so click that. And if you do send a PayPal, just let us know that you sent it through the regular chat, and we will check the email and read your comment or question via that way. So lots of ways to help out. Plus, the Teespring store, there's descriptions in every video, and in those descriptions are links and things, so follow those. Help us out if you can. PayPal, joining the channel is a great way as well. You can join the rank of commander, captain, or admiral right off the hop and get you some good recognition as your name is highlighted, and we see how long you've been a supporter and things like that. So lots of great ways to help if you can. So please consider doing so. We have 48 people watching with 44 likes. He wanted 46 by the time he got back. That's 2 more. Can 2 more people hit that like button? So when the commander is done sharing, he can come back and be like, you hit the goal. And we need 2 more people. 2 people. We need 1 more person. We got 45 now. Can we get 46? 46. 46. And Jill, I make a great Fujili. $2. I'll alternate Stargate 1, S8. Oh, and Stargate Atlantis Season 1 episodes on my rewatch. Very cool. And look, he's back. And do we have the right amount of likes? Oh.
I think we did.
We did. Now we're back to 45 for some reason. But that's 1 hour to 46.
Sweet.
Yeah. And Andrew Sepp puts in $2. Jordy forgot to erase his browser history episode. Yeah, pretty much.
We just debated this for a while, sort of today, so it does kind of feature into that, like, trust. You know? Yeah. People have trust. Sort of, sometimes.
But anyway.
Yes. Stuart, man, where'd you go?
Thoughts? Did you?
Are you there, Stuart?
I don't know. I asked you about your thoughts on this episode, and you were frozen.
Stuart, can you hear me? You know, we're just trying to do our thing, you know. Tell me back, Stuart.
Well, I asked you your thoughts on this episode, and then you were frozen, so.
Yeah, I just watched it. This is one that you remember, but don't link the two storylines because they're so different. I mean, one's a love plot, one's a Trek plot, and that's fine. It's good. It's a good episode. It's surprisingly... you used to get surprisingly invested in it. You know, Tin Man, they did the alien in space, but this does it a lot better. It's strangely how little happens, but because it evolves quite neatly, it does well. Leah's a good actress, although it's interesting to see how they've got limited time to play, but they keep having her sort of say, basically apologising for who she is, because we, as the episode, hasn't got enough time to let her be herself and then make us form an opinion. But she comes off hard and then keeps apologising for it, even though you wouldn't normally do that, unless she's very self-conscious of it. But that doesn't quite feel... So they kind of jump in the shark a little bit with how they approach her, although actual scenes are really good. And good to see Joy do other stuff, be a bit more flexible and do a lot of other things. Picard has some really good facial expressions. A sad day for them, for sure. And it's very Trek. You know, I can definitely see Gene approving of this story. It could have been done in TOS, you know, with Scotty and Alas. It's very TOS in that way. And yeah, it's a very classic TNG of the week, with a bit of continuity, obviously, and a very Star Trek episode of Star Trek. Not like Amazeballs, but you're certainly intrigued and kept in the loop the entire time. So while it doesn't necessarily do anything 10 out of 10, it's a good bit of TNG.
Yeah, I do link these two because once I think of the thing attached to the hull, I think, oh, souring the milk, and I remember her saying that. So it always takes a second, but
yeah, I can see
it's to link the two together. But yeah, there's the whole alien space alien thing is really cool. I do like that aspect of it, and very Star Trek again, as we've kind of talked about before, which is one of the things I like about it. Although it's never really ramped up to any exciting levels, it's like there's nothing really at stake. I know that they're losing power and there's other ones coming at them. It just doesn't feel there's not much tension for me. It just feels very slow and lackadaisical. It's just not an exciting pace. I'm more invested in the other story, to be honest, even though, you know, it's just about Leah and Geordi. I find it more interesting than the actual alien aspect of it. So
I mean, talk about ramping up, though. You know, it is strange. The first scene with the alien, it ramps up from 0 to 100 because it goes from being like, oh, we're under attack to lethal radiation in 1 minute, literally. And it's just like, oh wow, with full shields up. So it does ramp up to the absolute max instantly, and then it brings you all the way back down, and then you get this constant like ticking clock of Will, you know, losing power. But They don't want to treat it like a villain, so they can't go too harsh. Although when you get 3 at the end, you do know that okay, those could easily destroy the Enterprise if they want to. So there is kind of that, but obviously they're not villains. They do a good job at pretending as it's just life forms. It's bugs. They're creatures. They're octopuses. They don't really understand fully, and they're not intentionally being mean.
Well, that's the thing, though, that shooting it right away, even with minimum phasers, was kind of a dumb idea, in my opinion. I would have tried, like, repulsing it with a tractor beam, trying to get away at impulse, trying to do a few other little things before instantly shooting it. And I know you said, they said phasers at minimum power, but later they put the phasers. That's it. You'll have to let me know when I come back for being frozen.
Phase at minimal power.
Yeah, like try slowly ramping things up for life form instead of just using minimum phaser power, which is probably like still 15% or something like that.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, they had a minute till their crew's going to start dying. So, how it's difficult to make a decision in 1 minute with zero information. They didn't even scan it. They didn't even scan what its like weaknesses were. I didn't take it more as it was an accidental killing, just like with Stargate 3 and Krug. It's just like I shot a place, wasn't really thinking where I shot. It shot. Oops, that's a hot, important piece of whatever. But yeah, the deflectors are a good call. Although I can imagine that because of the radiation it was sending, that would have disrupted it. A phase is a more focused beam, whereas the other one is a more whatever beam. And besides that, they were shooting more at the deflector area anyway. And if you got one choice in the minute,
I didn't say deflector. I said tractor beam. I put the tractor beam on repulse to push it away, as opposed to firing a goddamn phaser at it. That's what tractor beams are for. They're for pushing and pulling objects. It's a life form. You wouldn't. It's the equivalent of punching it in the gut or shooting it. I'd rather punch somebody in the gut as an act of self-defense than kill them.
But I guess it's like if there's an octopus that's, its ink is slowly poisoning you and you've got 35 seconds till you're going to get killed. Do you either shoot it with your gun or move forward and punch it and die potentially? I mean, it's like you got one choice. You got 1,000 people, and it did attack first very quickly. So it sucks, but families of the people that died because he chose an option that wasn't as direct. I'm
just saying, there's other ways to handle the situation, which I probably would have attempted first.
Yeah. Ooh. It's gone red now. Why is it gone red? Guys, am I still here? Am I still doing my thing? Can you still hear me, guys? Okay, yeah, he's still... Yeah, Skype or Zoom, doesn't matter. Recently, I think it doesn't like the internet, just doesn't. When again, see? My point exactly. And yes, people mentioning about the CGI, actual CGI. Let me go back to the original version of TNG and see how the original one looked, because I would be extremely surprised if they remasters actually redid the CGI. It's not what they tend to. Oh god, that color grade is bad. Oh, you forget that SDness. Gosh, Stuart. I mean, it's a miniature. The lightning is quite similar. The CGI is when it's.
Anyway, nothing I can do about it. So anyway, let's get into it so we can just get it done then, if that's going to be the case tonight.
Well, super chat to get Stuart better internet, because all the super chats make all the difference.
Let's see. We've got Yinko Yoki puts in $5. Brahms goes from "So you're the one who messed up my engine design" to "Oh, that's good. You're really good" in less than an hour. Good going, Jordy.
Well, That's about most of a day.
It was more than an hour for sure,
Yeah.
because at one point she says, "What, my hair's different than it was a few hours ago."
Yeah. No,
So
they've been solidly bantering and impressing her for like 5 or 6 hours, and then she says, "Well, maybe you're not so bad," and then so it's the same day. But I mean, she's an engineer; she's a very smart lady. At some point, you can see a couple of tinkers as being like, "Dude, why are you messing up my engine?" Versus, "Oh wow, he's changed a lot of things and they work." Okay, fine. You are clever, kind of vibe. And yes, people asking about the CGI. Yes, the real CGI creature, which is a rarity in TNG, and though relatively good considering. Some shots better than others. Mostly certain bits, but yeah, same CGI as back when it was released. They just used better clean plates for it. I went back and looked.
looks very animated though. It does not look photoreal.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, the miniature itself also looks like okay. You know what I mean? It looks decent. It's got sort of a lack of subtlety, and so some shots that it kind of works to match that when you're farther away. But then especially bit when it's on the shuttle bay does not look good. But it's serviceable considering the CGI level of the time. It's like okay, they should put money into it. They invested.
They should have fixed it up a little bit when they remastered it.
Well, you'd have to completely redo it then. I mean, you can't fix that.
I'm fine with that.
Oh.
That's what remastering's all about.
Well, they went for faithful remaster rather than actually make it better. Well, as in for some things.
Brunt FCA $2. This episode, the episode that taught me to delete my Firefox history. Anyway, so yes, we find out Leah Brahms is coming on board, and Geordi's super excited about it. And Picard's like, "Why? Oh, because she designed the engines." And he's an engine geek, so of course
makes sense. Sure, why not?
It's like us being excited that Doug Drexler is coming on board.
Yep.
And then him finding out that we have a holodeck program of him.
How did he find out? Oh.
Well, now I just said it, so. But it's the same situation. We'd be excited for that, and other people might be like, "Who the hell is Doug Drexler?"
Most people would be.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's good. And it's although it is quite a special thing, really. I mean, not that we see every day in the life of the ship, but they don't get visitors that often. And she obviously actually had to go to the space station first to then be picked up. So, she really committed to this journey.
So again, really, really fun little intro, and you don't expect it the first time around, and you like, wow, this is going to turn out really well. And you never really consider it. I mean, the first watch through that she's married or something.
Yeah. Why I didn't remember this time. That was a complete, curveball when I watched it this time. Especially since they're probably married in all good things. So it goes from being like, yeah, they got together to, oh, what happened to her first husband? Oh.
To be fair, he just says his wife Leah. We're not sure it's Brahms, but you're implied to put that together. But still,
of all the names, you picked the one name of a sort of ex-lover, holo lover.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, because they are such a good match, actually, in terms of like intelligence. You can imagine they together would build and design amazing tech. Real power couple.
Well, we see him making sure his uniform looks good in 10 forward, and
Guinan's
I love the little
rarely in it. Actually here this week.
I love the little back and forth with her. He's excited to meet the woman of his dreams, and she's like, "Huh? What?" And he kind of explains the situation. Yeah. And I love how she's like, "Oh, this is not going to go well." Like right from the get-go, she knows that something's not going to go well.
It doesn't matter how good the holo program is; it doesn't actually match to real life. See lower decks.
Right.
And this is also a for all of the different scenes where the audience is behind, because this episode does rely on you having watched earlier TNG, which is not what they did, because syndication. You're more than likely missed the last episode because it was a year and a half ago. So most people, or a large chunk of people's sources, were like, "Oh, was this episode? I don't know. There's no VHS or whatever at this point." So quite ballsy of them to do a full-on continuity episode, which is why now when you can binge it, it's so rewarding. And for this scene, it's actually giving us the explanation because we didn't have it the first. No, if you haven't watched it, so it's quite a sleek explanation that still feels like it's in character, and yeah, it's good.
He said so. Brunt FCA $5. Tony Mellinger built the fiberglass model of Junior, and the CG was built by Rhymes and Hughes. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, Tony Mellinger's a classic name.
Yeah. So anyway, she beams over, and he's like, "Hey, how's it? Oh, wait, yeah, welcome aboard."
Hiya. Yeah.
A little bit too familiar, and then she's like, "Oh, you're LaForge. You're the one who's been messing up my engine designs." And like storms off.
But it's a fine line. She's not actually mad at him. She's, it's someone who's married her favorite child, and had her change her hair color, change how she dresses, and now she's meeting her like she's different. So it's a good balance, because she's not a villain, she's not an antagonist, but she has a sense of,
Later, she admits that she's got some preconceptions about him coming onto the ship. So that's
It's weird that he has to justify knowing anything about her. Like, she designed the engine he works on every day. She would have researched him because she's coming to meet him, and he would have researched her because she's coming to meet him. It's weird that they don't think, of course we, if you meet somebody, you're going to Google them first, or go on their Facebook, obviously. But they need to play that like they don't know each other at all, ness, for it to be more effective.
And the whole technobabble that things aren't on specs and things have been changed, and it's like, well, yeah, out here in space in the field, things happen that you can't really anticipate on the drawing board. And she takes that personally. She's like, "Is that a criticism?" He's like, "No, just it's a well-known fact."
Which is weird, because it's sad that she would go there. Of course, it's not a negative thing, but that shows her mentality. And you can imagine that designers versus engineers do butt heads. Just think of John Eves in the VFX department, or Scott Schneider. One is the engineer, one is the designer. The engineer goes in and tweaks things, changes things that they know better, even though the designer designed it a certain way. Obviously in that case, one did that in this case. Jordan knows better, but it's sad, because you can imagine all the time she's seeing her designs be changed and tweaked. But so far.
And every Galaxy class ship would probably be different as far as the modifications that the engineers have made, because they all run into different shit, right? So, I make a great fun. Fujili puts in $2. A husband develops a fatal mushroom allergy. Fun Fujili.
Makes sense.
And Area 51 puts in $5. Jordy, computer, reboot Brahms character. Computer.
Oh.
Sad.
True.
Well,
this scene is a little bit repetitive, because his answer's the same for everything.
Yeah.
But at least it shows their intelligence. And again, this actor, he can really give technobabble. He can sell it.
LeVar Burton.
Thank you. He can really sell it. Most can't. He really can.
Yeah. And she gets an incoming message, and she's like, "I want to take this in private." He's like, "In my office. Go ahead." So, not really important at this point, but
yes. And did it annoy you that her pin is crooked the entire episode? Like, it's not.
I did not notice it, so no.
Okay. Yeah, I kept seeing. I was like, why isn't it straight? It's like when a com badge is skewed, like 20%.
And Picard's is in this one.
Well, you have to point out when we get there.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we get the warp core off, which we never get to see. Unfortunately, as soon as you do that, you can see it looks painted. Lets it down a little bit, but it is actually painted. Shows how mood lighting affects it. But it's really cool.
We don't turn it off yet. They cut to the scene on the bridge where they get the unknown readings that they have to head towards. So, yeah. They head towards that first. Then we get the shutdown warp core. And yes, you can tell it's wood and painted, and it just looks awful. Welcome to HD.
What's that? What looks awful?
The wood that's painted. It's for the lithium crystal chamber.
Oh, oh, yes. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Not too bad, but I mean, you can tell.
It ain't real metal.
Yep.
But I do like this moment. It's like, why is it this way round? He's like, oh, because because we needed to do it for a thing once. Was it your idea?
Not really. Not completely.
Maybe. Don't know. I was
Well,
surprised they kept it that way. I thought it was just a one episode sort of thing. So I was kind of like, okay, we improved it.
well, yeah, they moved it so you can change the lithium crystal orientation as needed, which is going to be in the next generation of starships, guys.
Which is
I love
basically
how that
Voyager.
was brought up. Yeah, I love how that was brought up too, because it's like, makes sense that we'd come up with the same things that you guys are in the lab out in the field, because it's common sense. It's the next step.
And also it shows that he wants to actually upgrade lots. Some engineers are fine just to keep status quo, but he obviously wants to improve. Although I know neither of us are particularly fans of the way we saw the Hathaway dilithium crystal slot, and this is very similar.
Yeah.
And it's just like the thing that powers the entire ship is a little thing in a little tray. It's very underwhelming as a housing, and just like, because also like it's just those side things are just holders, like they're just handles. It's very underwhelming, and although not a lot of crystal, to be fair, but I know, would you agree, quite underwhelming?
Yeah, it's just the focusing chamber though, so it's not that big of a deal, I don't think, but maybe there's more of them. Maybe there's more, who knows. Yeah, it's the main one, but I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't bother me too much.
A bit more sci-fi.
Yeah. But then we get the creature in orbit, and
nice planet.
Not sure it's a creature yet. It's just a massive plasma energy with, contained within a covering of silicates and whatever, a whole bunch of technobabble, which is not technobabble, it's organic babble, I guess. So they come to the conclusion that it's a life form of some sort.
Their face is priceless.
Yeah, which is really cool.
And then it scans them with not too bad an effect. That holds up reasonably well. The lightning doesn't quite as well. And they're all like, "Short-range shields, no, Mr. Worf. We've scanned it. There's every right to scan us." And the way he says it's like poetically, like, "Hey, it's not going to hurt us. It's all fine." But unfortunately, that escalates extremely quickly, and the lightning does not hold up. I do not think, unfortunately, a little bit dark looking. But it is really sad because it goes from being fine to literally deadly amounts of killer radiation through shields in about 5 seconds. And I liked the revelation that because it's pregnant, it's protecting, but it's basically a rabid animal. Like, it attacked first with no provocation. I can't feel that much sympathy for it, unfortunately. The way it's played, it's so instant. Like, whereas like the Dyson sphere, they did something to trigger it. Like if it sent out a boson pulse to try and get a detailed scan, and that like changed the phase variance in its matrix, fine. But I don't know, to me it felt like, I can't feel bad. You attacked us instantly. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, that's because it was pregnant and about to give birth, but they didn't know that. So
doesn't justify it because they didn't aggress her first.
Well, it's just like any animal. If you show up in its territory or in its safe spot when it's about to give birth and it feels threatened, it'll attack whether you're provoked or not. So yeah, you got to look at it like that. So, but
I can't feel sympathy. Sorry. And also, is this not shot of the Enterprise a bit weird? This side shot, it's so bright you can't really see the windows, and it just looks like this is one of the ones that looks to me like a very. This looks like a wooden resin miniature. This is all that sort of flair. Like it looks really flat. Yeah. And even where's the bridge dome?
Yeah, just the angle. It's a little bit too far, so you can't see it. I don't know.
It's a really bad shot of the Enterprise.
Yeah, I guess. It's all right. Let's see here. So they're attempting. They want to get out of there, but there's too much interference to create a warp bubble, and this is where the radiation's rising. So they contact Dr. Crusher and tell her to prepare for radiation protocol. And yeah, here's where they decide to attack it or shoot it with phasers. Minimal power. Picard's very hesitant to give the order, but does say fire. and it instantly works. Shuts it down, and then you see the color fluctuations in it, which are really cool.
Yeah.
And basically they killed it.
Yeah, and watching it like harden up is like, oh, damn. And Picard's face is really priceless in terms of like, one of the hardest things he had to do, because it's completely needless and senseless and just, pointless to beyond all whatevers. And
But if Data's like, I think it's dead, sir.
Yeah, he's not quite sensitive, is he?
Yeah.
But yeah, lovely bit of, it's a great, in terms of vibe and construction of the moment, you do genuinely feel that melancholy with the crew. You are exactly in at this point with everyone.
Yeah. And Picard's total reaction, like, we're out here to explore, to make first contact with the life forms, to establish peaceful relations, but not to interfere, and absolutely not to destroy. So yeah, he feels awful.
Yeah.
Look what we have just done. Yeah. And yes, he did follow all the protocols. Thanks, Counselor Troy. That doesn't help the situation. He still feels bad. He decides he's going to go to his ready room, and then there's a energy signature from within the creature, which basically they determine there's something alive in it. And I remember watching for the first time going, oh, it must be a parasite inside it or something that's going to come out and try to attack the Enterprise to find a new host body or something. That's kind of the vibe that I got.
Which could explain why it was so aggressive. That'd be an easy way of...
Yeah.
Would have been later we find out
that it's just pregnant. So I remember that though, the initial thought, like, what the hell's inside it? Must be a parasite or something.
Yeah, they spent a long time not having to be pregnant, like mentally. So it is a nice sort of reveal. It's just like, yeah, oh, okay, yes. And then we get cut from this whole dark, depressing scene to Geordie's in a jumper. And it is, despite being a bit of an odd jumper, though, I can see him wearing it, if that makes sense. It's nice.
Sweater.
Yeah, it's nice to see him not in uniform. The amount of times we've commented on they're in 10 forward off duty in uniform. Although this episode we did see people not in uniform, but it's nice to see him actually out of that. Although his quarters, which obviously just everyone's quarters, the Worf style inner quarters, are pretty Spartan. They didn't do that much set dressing, but that's okay. And yeah, he is a whole long scene about mood and about dealing with the computer. And I enjoy watching LeVar Burton act. So I like this because it's so off what we normally see. And it's a good build because it brings you in to his brain so effectively. And without these sorts of moments, you wouldn't have as much payoff with it going wrong. So I think it's actually pretty well handled, considering. Although once you know she's married, you suddenly realise this is why she left. Because, yeah, it's too impersonal. I just met you. Why are you being this friendly?
Yeah. The way Geordi talks to computers, I think, is funny.
They're people to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, his best friends are Android, for Christ's sake. So,
yeah. And his baby's Enterprise.
Well, yeah, I guess. But picking the music and stuff, it's like, oh, dude, really? And even selects Brahms. Her last name's Brahms. Oh, maybe some Brahms.
Yes, I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she shows up, feels a little uncomfortable, which who can you blame her, really? They have a nice kind of heart-to-heart talking about how they, I'm sorry I'm like this, but, I think of these things like the engine as my kid, and I care about it, a little protective. And he's like, oh, I feel the same way. She's like, oh, really? Well, that's good. I gotta go. Tomorrow at 8:00. Hopefully you'll be more receptive to my list of bullshit or my list of things you screwed up on my design.
And I hope you'll be receptive this time, is what she basically says.
Yes.
Although his lines about, oh yeah, we think the same way. It's like, do you not think most engineers who love their jobs also think the same way? She's like, no one's ever thought that way like me before. It's like, yeah, they have. We've just not talked to them in their quarters before.
I loved how I knew her, like the knowledge of her, like, oh, I make a killer Fujili. She's like, I love Fujili. Oh, really? And then here, the whole pushing the chair in for her, and it's like, oh, your hair's different.
That was kind of blue for me. That was
different than what, a few hours ago? No, from your personnel files. Wow, you need to see my personnel files. standard procedure whenever a guest comes on board. And I would have said at that point, plus I'm the chief engineer of the flagship of the, with the engines you designed. Of course, I've researched, everything.
When I
The
accepted my
development
promotion, I
process.
did my research. Yes, it's
Yeah.
weird to think these engineers wouldn't like know who built their engines. I mean, I guess you could say it's weird. I don't know who designed my computer, but I'm not the chief flagship. Whereas if you're like, I think the people at ILM, right? They taught Intel or AMD. You know, the top tier in their profession who need rendering. They taught. You know what I mean? They would know the people that behind Threadripper and whatever. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, actually now knowing the married, it does change the whole vibe a bit. This one's definitely an interesting second double rewatch episode. Uh, hmm.
Brunt FCA throws in
Right.
$2. 88 watching and only 59 likes. Let's get
Mm.
to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have 83 watching and 62 likes. Come on, guys, hit the like button if you haven't. I think we could probably get to 75 with 83 people watching. It should be easy.
I think it's doable.
Come on, you can do it.
No, he's definitely sort of too friendly here, but we know that he can sometimes have a weird vibe about him. What do you think of his vibe he gives off in this scene in particular? So objectively.
Looking from the outside, not knowing what had happened before, it's a little bit forward and weird, and I can see why she would be uncomfortable. But having kind of known what happened before, know the kind of relationship they kind of built during that whole situation, it makes perfect sense that he would hope for this. So it's actually played really well. If you know the prior episode, it's like, okay. But if you don't know it at the same time, you're like, what's going on? Like, I can understand her confusion, and then it gets explained later. So I think it's actually played perfectly well. It's just a simple misunderstanding, and he wasn't being overly creepy, I don't think.
Well, it's like if he had offered this dinner the next day after they've solved the scenario, it'd be totally different. It's like this is too much for the first day. But I don't think he was being creepy. I think it'd be sad if people took that from this, because everyone's different, and so to even say he's too forward, we know he's too forward, but she doesn't know him at all. He could just be a really friendly guy, and nothing he's doing here is like, "Hey, Leah, you're hot." The hair's a bit weird, but
your hair smells different than it did before.
See, that's the difference. Like oh, I notice your hair's different to your profile. Oh, it is. Like you could say it very naturally, and that's fine, So I think it's a good balance. But hopefully people don't think he's creepy, because it almost comes off that way, almost. But
yeah,
he's also not good with women at all, and that's one of the gags. So it's also inexperience and, although not necessarily nerves. I think expectation is a more appropriate word. Like, he's not nervous. He just wants to make it the best it could be in the situation, especially as it wasn't the best start. Yeah.
Brunt FCA puts in $2. I read that one already.
Okay.
Never mind. Sorry. All right, so here we are on the bridge. They're trying to ascertain what's going on with the creature. They basically come to the conclusion here that the patterns are similar enough. They're like slightly different, but it's kind of like a miniature version of the creature they killed. So they come to the conclusion it's pregnant, and it's like, oh, that's actually pretty interesting theory. So I remember being like intrigued by that the first time I watched this. So I thought it was kind of neat. And then the whole graphic of it trying to, like, the belly moving, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, those are the shots that work slightly better because they're further away. They got away with a bit more. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a very gentle build, but it does escalate in such a Trek way. It's like, oh, okay, that's interesting, and also that genuine hope that they feel, you feel too. Because it is sad, you kill the thing, but now there is something there. Although it's definitely, not born yet, but hopefully born a bull. And then you get the brief room scene. I find it a little bit weird. He's saying, "Beverly, do you think it could live outside its mother's body?" And she's like, "Captain, we didn't even scan it before we attacked it. I have no idea anything about it. So, what makes you think I have any idea? I know what other races do. I don't know this race." So luckily she doesn't give too many assertions. But I find it amazing that Picard thinks she has any answer and she has no information. You know? Comes across a little bit odd in that respect. But it's okay.
Fulgor CZ says, I'm no mathematician, but making 100 likes out of 86 people seems a little difficult to me. Not at all, my friend. People come and go to come into the stream and leave. They'll go in, they'll like, they'll leave. Somebody else will come in. So it's like the same number of people still here, but they haven't hit like. So we can easily hit. Some of my solo lives, I'll get 200 likes with like 140 people there the whole time. So figure that one out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's one of those things that, you know, you might have 100 people watching, but actually have 300 people who have watched. You know, because they come and go.
Yeah, no, this is actually, I like the briefing with kind of getting the medical aspect of things and how technically it should have been able to break out of the mother if it was developed enough, so it must be premature. But even with premature births, you got to be careful because, you know, that might not be strong enough to live, whatever. So I'm glad that they don't go out of their way to help it once it gets born. Like they cut it open and like, okay, we're leaving now. We did the best we can. So I appreciate that. But I do like this whole briefing, and even Worf jumping in saying, I'm not sure that's the best idea, sir. I mean, the adult one attacked us. It's like, yeah, but okay. We'll take it under advisement. Thank you for your suggestion, Mr. Worf, but I think we need to help out. Yes, I love that little bit.
This one I definitely got the Worf PTSD of don't let me do anything, do you, Captain? No. I suggest, and you always say no. You know what I mean? This is a great example of that, I think.
And then we get the engineering scene where there's a turbo lift where there's no turbo lift.
No, there's sometimes on there. Yeah.
This is like the only episode where it's there. Every other episode, that behind those doors is access to the Jeffries tubes.
Oh, sure. That as well. But Riker's definitely come through there before. I mean, earlier than this episode. Yeah. Because this is the first episode with the Jeffries tube. Because we watched it in order, and I don't remember seeing it before this.
Well, it is not a turbo lift later on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole corridor that is in the room like for 3 episodes. But yeah, so
it's like a closet or a storage thing with access to multiple. Jeffries tubes.
But certainly, like,
it makes sense in engineering.
But yeah, certainly from when they really like establish it, it'll be Jeffries tube. But I think it's because we now have a Jeffries tube set, so we want to have the bit. Although that's interesting. So do they roll the turbo lift door, the set?
I don't know. I was wondering that same thing.
Because you're not going to build another one, are you? What'll be the point in that? Yeah. So yeah, it must be rollable. Huh.
Another thing too here I noticed, because he was standing in front of the MSD when the scene started, and then they pan the camera back. You can actually see the little mouse that's in the MSD because it's high def. You can actually see the little mouse up there, and there's the plane and the ducky and all that other stuff in there. But I just love the thought process of putting those in there, thinking, oh, nobody will ever see it because it's, you know, it's not meant to be seen on a 60-inch screen at high definition, remastered. So I just love that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
was good.
Yeah.
As a morning person, as soon as she said, the night before, see, at 800, I'm thinking, what the hell's wrong with you? If work starts at 9, you want to meet at 8, means I have to get up and shower at 7, means I have to eat 6:30. Why not meet me at 10? Or, 9? Like, why before work starts? And then she walks...
I think their shift might start at 7. Some people's shifts start at 7 in the morning. So.
And then she just walks in, doesn't say hi. She's so abrupt with it. I mean, it makes sense in character. It's like, this is 8 a.m., lady. Come on. Be nice. Say good morning or something. I'm just not a morning person, so this is like, oh my god. But then Jeffries tube. I do think it's the first Jeffries tube, considering how detailed it is. And it looks great. It's very effective. And all it is I mean, those bars on the back wall are presumably from that one episode in that random computer call. They probably nicked a back wall. And it's just like, a vertical little crawlway. And it's a set. But it's so effective. It gives you a sense of scale and scope. And I'm sort of a sucker for the Voyager ones, but I like it.
Yeah. I like how she says, we got to go check these, whatever she says, out. And he's like, you are aware that they're in the Jeffries tube. And she's like, you are aware that I designed this whole goddamn thing.
You are aware that I knew that. I was just trying to be nice. Well, you are aware that I don't need you to help me. Well, you're aware that I'm a nice person. Well, I'm not aware because I just met you.
You got to think too. If it's the first thing they're going to do, and she knows that, why is she not dressed in the crawling around in the Jeffries tube outfit at this point? Because if she's
Yeah.
coming in, the first thing she says is, "Let's go do this." You think she'd be
Like a
dressed
matter
in
of
that to
cause and
start
change.
with.
It's like, great, thanks for that, Leah. Very
Yeah.
true. Good point. But then we get this long scene in the Jeffries tube. I find it funny when people are staring at blank displays because she's like, it's a normal L card with buttons that don't tell me anything.
She pushes two buttons and doesn't change anything.
I know. It's just, I always laugh at those. Like, it's sci-fi, and yet, if you haven't got the budget, it doesn't quite work as well. And he's like, she's like, oh, I can hear a different hum, which is a good line. He's like, yes, it's this thing. The one different thing in the entire Jeffries tube. Oh! So what do you think? Like, yes, it's the one different thing. She should say, is it this? Yes, it is.
Even her saying you should write a paper on this because everybody should know about your innovation. He's like, oh, writing's not my strong suit. Maybe we can collaborate. I know that you like writing. And that's where she's like, the whole time I've been on board, you've had this weird, thing going on. And he's like, well, I've studied you, your writings, Starfleet, I've admired you.
Your assets.
And your work. Yep. And really wanted to meet you for a long time, he says. And she's like, well,
I'm married.
if I'm hearing what I think I'm hearing,
Oh,
I'm surprised you don't know already, but I'm married. And he's like, oh, fine. It's a good scene.
Then.
It's a good scene.
Oh, it's amazing that, he could just be really friendly. So I'm kind of amazed that she went straight to I'm married. Like, she got all of that from that,
Yeah.
Like, she just jumped the gun pretty much there. But it's like, I mean, collaborating on a paper isn't sexual. Doesn't have to be sexual. I mean, it's not necessarily a date. It also tells you about his mentality that he doesn't want to share his improvements because territorial. It's like, oh, these are my improvements to my warp core. I don't want to give the challenger my improvements necessarily.
Yeah. But then we get the set phasers to 3% narrow beam, and they use it like a scalpel, which is kind of neat. See that?
And it's even a very, very small phaser beam because I do a lot of phaser beams for fan films, and it's like, diddly.
Yeah. And so they get the incision in there, and they're like, it needs help pushing through still. And she's like, I don't want to try anymore because I don't want to hurt it. And it finally does push itself out, which is pretty cool. It looks pretty cool.
It's effective.
Yeah.
And the fact that it contorts so much, it actually works really well. Especially this is a fully CGI shot. The only problem I find with the effect is that once it leaves and the body of the creature is morphing, as soon as it leaves, it goes, whoop, it like jumps to being like solid again, and it looks really CGI.
Yeah.
Like it's morphing and then like that was not very good, but apart from that, it was pretty good.
But the whole, I'd like to announce the birth of a large baby something. It's good line.
But she didn't say a thing. Why is everything thing an it or a thing? A something is a bit more appropriate, which I quite like. It's...
And we get the 10 forward scene where Geordi's like, I don't know what could have gone wrong. How could I have been so far off? And
she's so harsh.
Guinan comes and helps, and but your old visor. Now she does, and this is something that bugs me, but I understand that it's a direction thing. She moves one of the pieces, and then in the next shot, when he's pointing back at him, the piece is still there, and then later it's gone again. It's like, whoa, stop! But it's
different
over the shoulder thing. Yeah. But the whole seeing only what you want to see, not asking the questions that are relevant, which he points out later. The computer's notorious for not volunteering information.
Well, if you don't ask it the right questions, it can't take the right answers. It's up to you,
Yeah. It's a great scene, though. I love when Guinan's there. I love her advice. And
she's just...
I really feel bad for Troy because these are lines for Troy. But
and she's again... she's in the episode, but underused again, for sure. But yeah, I mean, she's, Guinan is just basically a truth bomb. Doesn't care if she hurts your feelings. Because, I'm much, 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 much older than you. I've had 44 holographic boyfriends. I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's good. It's as we said, it's a good lesson as to what it would be for holo people and all that jazz. This is going to be a common thing. I'm sure she gets this conversation happens often, with her line of work. People that have unique experiences.
Yes. Then we get the life form is stable, so we're gonna piss off now, which is great. Because Riker's like, "Are we not staying?" He's like, "Nope. We've basically done all we can to help. If it dies, it dies. Whatever."
But the way he phrased it though is like, "Well, we've done enough." But I forgot exactly his phrase, but the way he says it makes me think. There's one line in this where it makes me think that when they left that planet where Roga Danar was, and he says, "Oh, well, we've done our bit, let's go." But he says in this episode somewhere, "Well, we can't go because we're responsible." Yeah, it was earlier. We're directly responsible for this, so we can't leave. It's like, well, you did that other time. You're directly responsible for the situation of the planet, and you left. That was actually an earlier scene, but I remembered it now. So it's been, I guess, different situation, but it's just like, where's that loyalty then when you mess up?
And they could have just warped out, but stupid Riker's like, maybe we should get a little bit further away before we warp out because we could harm it. And he goes, very well, 500 kph, Ensign, engage. And then, so of course, they move towards it. I don't know why you just wouldn't back up and turn. That's what I would probably do. I wouldn't. Oh, look, we got to do a beauty shot for that camera that's hanging out there by the thing. Anyway, because they get close, it imprints on the ship. Because it was looking at the dead mother, right? But I think because it went like this, I don't know. Just back up. Nope. Back up and turn. It's space, man.
Yeah, 100%. It plays a bit odd. It's like let's rub it in. Let's rub salt in the wound by flying over the dead corpse and an orphan. Great. No, you turn and you go away. I can agree with warp. You have no idea what a warp bubble is going to do. But yeah, why over it? What a stupid thing to do. Yeah. But I mean, that's the plot. But then, it follows. Oh, no. And when they say it's imprinted, Riker's face is like, oh, this is weird.
Hey, we're its mother.
Yeah. That little charming, cheeky face.
It attaches itself to the ship. And I love how Picard's like, report. Or says minor damage. To what? To the hull, to the shuttle bay.
To my ego,
shields.
Sir.
Yeah, like minor damage. That's not helpful. I guess it's too minor to even bother reporting. It scratched the paint. That kind of bugged me a little bit. Just said minor damage to the hull or something.
What's damage, Mr. Worf? A light fixed on deck 44. Yeah. Right.
It blew out at the same time. Could be a coincidence. We're not sure.
I've got my security chief on it. Yeah. Full report me on the desk in the morning. It's like, I should let him fire phasers, shouldn't I? God. It's antsy when he doesn't fire phasers.
The fun will now commence, Junior, the galaxy's ravioli. It does look like a freaking ravioli. I've thought the same thing over the years.
That's funny. I like it. And then
you see it attached to the ship there, which is great. It's a great shot.
This is where a window would have real trouble, because windows can't show behind the ship. Just saying. Now, obviously, a view screen window could do it, or just have a view screen. You can do it anyway. Not sure where this has been taken from. Obviously, I guess a nacelle and then CGI distorting it. But
they have sensors, so they can get a view of anywhere around the ship using the sensor information.
It's extrapolation, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it should have been like from a different angle. Like if it just been down on a nacelle, so it is too high. Although, boy, that's a leech.
Yeah, you think it would have attached to like just above the impulse engine or onto one of the nacelles?
That would have been cool, actually. Yeah. Well, they had the shuttle bay trick.
And the Cerritos, it's got one attached right to the rear of the nacelle, sucking the power. Yeah. So I guess they're making that little jab at the. Anyway, all the power starts to fluctuate. The lights are going off and on. They got a disco party going on the bridge because it's feeding directly off of the fusion reactors, as it would from its mother.
Which is weird because the fusion reactors are the secondary power source for the impulse drive and other small things. The warp core is what provides main power, so you shouldn't be having such like you still got
unless
main
you're running
power.
all the lights off of the auxiliary power.
Yeah. Now I know they know what they're talking about, but it does sound a bit odd when it's like, guys, what about main power? You're not gonna. Okay. I mean, did you think that too when you're watching it?
Yep, absolutely, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ziango 76 cars now have 3D car views. Yeah, the 3D parking views are cool.
3D.
Actually, oh yeah. Well, it's top-down parking.
Oh yeah.
We had to rent one when Sylvia had her accident, and it had that. So whenever you put it in reverse or into parking mode, you see the car from the top on the screen, and you can see all around it. You can see all the lines and everything because it's the cameras on the mirrors and the back and the front, and then it extrapolates and makes a view of the ship or the car from the top.
Yeah, it's not photo real or anything, but it's.
It is. It absolutely is photoreal. It's exactly. It's the camera feeds.
But just stitched together.
It distorts them and stitches them together to be a total view of around the car. You can see everything. It's really cool. It's really impressive, actually. So, yeah.
Okay. Can you see yourself? Can you wave?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I guess you've got a sunroof. I mean, obviously you'd have to have a sunroof to do that.
There is a sunroof, but it's just top view of the car. But there's no camera above your car looking down on the car. It's using the cameras that are on them.
So it is doing a static version of the ceiling then, of the top of the car.
Yes, absolutely it is. But it's photorealistic version of it, so it looks like it's a camera above your car.
Does it change the lighting? Because if you're looking at images of the side of the car, what if you were in desert? Would the top still be silver without yellow, or is it like color grade at the top of the car?
No, it doesn't do that. It just shows the
so it looks so it looks like a fake car that looks like a real car, but it looks like a fake real car, a picture of a car with real around it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Can you put your hand out the window and see your hand? I'm assuming
yes. You can. It's freaky because you can put your hand out and underneath where the camera's pointing, and you see this weird distorted hand come in the picture.
You should put a selfie stick out there, take a picture, and like loop it or somehow. I don't know.
SWTX Chaser $5. The Rave on deck 32 gets pumped across the whole ship, hence the lights. Yeah, maybe.
Disco party. Literally. I mean, literally the disco prize party. I was being literal.
Yeah.
That was a good rave. I would go to that rave.
Yes. So yeah, apparently they have 6 hours of power left.
Yes.
And so they need to find a way to extend it. And it's like, oh, glad you're here, Dr. Brahms. You can help. And then they start naming it Junior. We got to find a way to get Junior off of here, whatever. And Data's like, is that what we're going to call it from now on, Junior? Absolutely not. And they all leave. Riker and Crusher get a nice little laugh out of that. So
it's good because the point blank, like, oh, of course not. Shut up. It's an unusual line read, for sure. It's definitely nice Leah's there because we very rarely get guest actors being in briefings as part of the team to fix things. So it's like, oh, nice.
And the funny thing is, she's a specialist in the warp drive systems and all that, and the power systems. But her suggestion is to deactivate the force field on Shuttle Bay 2 because it's over Shuttle Bay 2. That's her suggestion. No one else suggests anything else. Her suggestion is that. And okay, yeah, we'll try that. Okay, good. And that's it. That's really all this briefing was about. So good job, Leah.
Meetings can be really short sometimes because all is one plan. Yeah. Don't know about you, but plan A always works for me. What about for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, my life, the autobiography of my life would be called Plan A.
Your plan A was to get married, get divorced, get married again. That was plan A.
Yeah, it was.
You didn't tell your first wife.
Yeah, it made me who I am. So yes, that was the plan all along. That's what I tell people.
But then you get another walk and talk and different uniform, different costume, and the vibe with Geordie is distinctly more professional. He's lost that certain edge of trying hard. We've often heard, he can talk to people brilliantly. Unless he's trying, then he goes bad. So here, he's still friendly. He's still his normal self, but there's no extra level, and it feels really natural. And I think she's responding well to it too, just being work colleagues.
And 104 people watching with 88 likes. We can hit 100 likes easily, guys. That's 12 people need to hit like. I mean, that's possible. Yeah, and she's like, so you've made a lot of changes, probably some I'm not aware of. Is there somewhere where this is all consolidated where I can check it out? He's like, yep, it's in the computer.
Under
Like,
porn directory. I mean, don't what? Shit porn. I mean, to be fair, that makes sense with Trekyards. At least do it with Trekyards.
And he would have probably been with her the whole time, so he could have sidetracked this. But then he gets called to the bridge. So she says, yeah, the ensign down in engineering will be able to help you out. And so she's reading over everything, and she's like, is there any other files? And she's like, oh yeah, no problem. Hear this. Oh, cool. I'll recreate this on Holodeck or Holodeck 3. Like, okay, bye. She did what? It's just the way these scenes blend together is great.
Yeah, the edit was pretty funny. It just sort of appears because obviously this is what you're waiting for basically as the episode. Although I don't quite know why she suddenly wants to know about this file.
Yeah, I don't either.
I didn't quite get the connection. It's like it's not an upgrade to the ship. It's about
because they're not trying anything with the alien yet. Because the plan was to do the shuttle bay thing, which is Geordi's on his way to do that right now. Actually,
he's just meandering then, basically in a investigation.
I think he's on his way to do that. They call him to the bridge. I don't know if this was edited differently than it's supposed to be.
Actually,
now that I'm thinking about it,
I don't know.
Because yeah, she goes to the holodeck, opens the door, and then it's like she went where? So he got called away for something. They still haven't tried deactivating the force field on the shuttle bay yet. They do that later. I don't know. It seems edited weird now that I'm talking about it.
Yeah,
and it felt fine at the time, but
yeah. And why Holodeck 3? Why not Holodeck 1?
That's the one everyone uses. That's the everybody. It's dirty holodeck.
What if someone's in there? She doesn't even bother checking. Wouldn't it be great if she throws someone else out? It's like, get out! I'm doing official business. Oh, bro, skiing. But yes, he runs down there with a kind of like a, no, it's fine. No reason to be concerned, Ensign. Oh shit. And then walks in. You get a reasonably good composite, but somewhat awkward. Oh, Geordie, when you hold the ensign. When you hold the engine. That's close. Think of me. When you rub the engine. Think of me. They had to quickly redress the, because I can never stop seeing this is a redress the battle bridge, those top pieces and the bridge. They had to quickly redress one wall to match, although it doesn't have the same elegance of the original set. I thought we were going to see more with the two Brahmses. Like, I seem to remember a scene where, like, other Brahms gets to talk herself and is all like, Geordie, who is this woman? Geordie? What? You know, but it's like, oh, kind of underserved.
Deleted scene, but no, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's a little bit lackluster of the interconnectivity of that. It's okay.
I love how he runs in and computer freeze program right away.
Even though it was already frozen pretty much because she was torn to.
And she's like, now I understand. He's like, this isn't what it looks like. And then he gets all like pouty. He says, I've been nothing but nice to you. You came on the ship. He was mean to me, and I was nice to you. I was respectful, and all that jazz. Who cares if I had sex with you 15 times in the last week before you showed up? That's neither here nor there.
And your blonde twin sister that I invented, and a redhead twin sister I invented. You have 43 twins. What?
But all I did was try to be your friend, and he storms off. It's like, well, so you just turned the situation around so that she was mad at you, so now you're guilt tripping her. Pack your bags. We're going on a guilt trip. Yeah, because how did she know that he didn't create more Brahms? I mean, I probably would have, right? So it's only a fair assumption, I guess. I would be mad too.
Yeah, I didn't like the scene. I don't think it felt off. But you just explained it very well. She expresses herself reasonably well, although she clearly didn't watch much of the program. She only watched the end, which obviously.
Exactly.
So yes, she's wrong in that she's got the wrong end of the stick. But the way he addresses it, the fact that he shifts straight to "you've been mean to me," feels so odd. It's inorganic. Really,
it's a get out of jail free card. It's like, I'm gonna make you feel bad. It's the guilt trip thing. I see people have done it. I've done it. I mean, I see people do it all the time.
But it wouldn't be what you'd throw in the situation. You'd say, "Sorry, you got the wrong end of the stick. Let me explain." And obviously, she's not calm, so she's more not going to listen to it as well. So I get I guess, swapping, but this is not the time you play this card, LaForge. I mean, I guess it worked, but it's like changing the subject.
If I was innocent, I would have been like, come over here, computer, Arch. Look, okay, here's a list of all my programs. Ignore that one.
Geordie, why are 43 of them blacked out?
They've been redacted by Starfleet security. It's their top secret training programs. I can't show you. I'm sorry. You got to think on the fly. Think on your feet.
Because I was kind of in this scene, and again I was remembering interaction. I was expecting him to say, "It's not what you think, Leah. Computer, run replay, time da," and then he would actually bring up holographic him and Leah, and then real them would watch fake them, see the scene, and like she would talk over herself. Like you have some fun dynamicness there. So very inorganic scene, I thought, and weird timed event, and the fact that he storms off even though she's the one that's upset with him, and then for her to be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, why is she now feeling that weird way?
I don't know. The thing that bothers me about this though is where she tries to get around him, and he's like, "No, and he steps in front of her with his hand up. It's like, I've smacked you before, woman. I'll do it again. Stay here." And she's like, "Woo!" She like backs off. I think that's a little too aggressive for Geordie.
Well, it's defensive. It's stopping her. It's saying, "Wait."
I know, but the way he puts his hand, it's just, you just think, "Oh, have you hit Leah before, Geordie? In one of the programs?"
Do not take that from that. I'll be honest, but okay. Ooh. Well, he's frustrated, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, definitely. Glad we both agree. It's definitely a weird scene, and it's not the payoff you want from this concept. This is the dip, unfortunately. But I guess I didn't necessarily know how to resolve this in an organic way because it's a weird situation, especially back then. Like even more imaginative you had to be. But back to the creature. Oh, asteroid field. Yeah, we're going to an asteroid field, and there's rocks that it might be able to eat. I guess. Sure.
Yeah, there's rocks there's traces of the same kind of composition as the animals.
Yeah.
Skin, so we can leave it there maybe because they don't know that there's other
which is a nice reveal. I that really helped me forgive them a bit. So it's like okay, phew. But guys, can I forgive Team Trekyards? Only 97 likes. I mean, 100 likes. Not that many super chats so far. I at least want to see double guys. Bit light again today. We're over an hour in, so put your thoughts, comments, questions. You need to get at least another $50 today to make it really another 70, but hey. So guys, we're going to put in a couple of fives right now. Have some comments, questions, thoughts. That would be good. Really, really appreciate it. Let us know what you think.
Yes, so let's hit 100 likes, guys. 101 here. 3 more likes to get to that. Come on.
Give us a like spike, The famous
hashtag like spike. I haven't said hashtag like spike in a while, unless I'm reading people's super chats, our moderators. I remember saying hashtag like spike the first time, and then it became a thing.
We'll say it now, say it proud.
There we go. 100 likes. We got it. 102 people watching. Can we get over 102 people watching to show? I forget the person's name that said it's impossible because of math, but it is possible because YouTube and Trekyards. Dangerous combination.
And what was Tilly's line about the power of math?
Power of math, people.
There you go. Thank you. And who says math? Fuck yeah.
Oh, see, we have 102 likes with 99 people watching.
Beautiful.
Who says Mike? Math? Fuck yeah.
Or is it science? Doesn't it say in Discovery? Like, math? Fuck yeah.
No, it's Tilly says fuck yeah to something and then apologizes.
Oh, is cool.
And Stammet says
that's fucking cool. You're right, Ensign. It is fucking cool. Yeah. It's like, what? What?
Front FCA $2 hashtag junior like spike and for 100 likes. So there you go.
Cool.
Thank you guys. But yes, more super chats would be greatly appreciated. If you have any comments or thoughts about this episode,
yeah, we actually want to know what you think. Let us know. Be part of the conversation.
Tell us what we should say. Jeff Jacobs, $2. I knew we could do it. Now on to 125. Hashtag make Jeff pay. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway, so yes, Geordi decompresses the shuttle bay, and you get the
That
flapping
doesn't
skin.
hold up as well. That's the one that's weird. Although the reflection's nice. Like they're really trying, considering,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't really hold up. And yeah, boy, that power it escalates pretty bad. Yeah, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want to let go. It is suckling the
Well,
teat, and it is not want to let go of the teat.
and it also starts emitting some high frequency
Mm.
radio emissions.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they're like, is it trying to communicate? Don't know. But all of a sudden, then things start coming
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
um,
mm-hmm.
from the asteroid belt, and they actually redirect power. They're now their life support and critical
Yes. Yep.
operations are using the auxiliary power supply. So
And that was a fun detail. I actually quite like
mhm.
that. It's like, yeah, we have unveiled them to power. Yep. Oh dear.
So yes, they magnify. There's 3 of the creatures coming towards them. And, they'll be there in 10 minutes and 31 seconds at their current speed.
And that I quite liked them coming out of the asteroid. I thought that was actually quite a good effect. I think some asteroids do look like styrofoam. Don't quite hold up the kind of the bitty nature. But I was left wondering: is this 3 aliens in one composite, or 3 shot one at a time? Because you wouldn't need to make 3 really, but it's a really like that's a better done effect with the lighting and such. And yeah, it
No idea.
definitely adds up the tension. Because like, I mean, one could kill us in under 2 minutes.
Mm. It
Oh.
wasn't. Didn't ramp up the tension for me though. It's like, okay, they're slowly meandering towards us, and they can solve our problems because we have a young one that they could
Okay.
take care of. It just didn't feel threatened. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But the shot of the Enterprise in the background with the 3 of them going towards it is really good. I think I like that. Um, anyway, so they got 6 minutes to kind of get Junior off their backs without sucking up more energy, and then she comes running down to engineering. It's like, I have a suggestion if you're interested. And there you can see the car on the MSD. You can see the duck. You can see the mouse.
Wait, so you're saying you're not duck blind? Thanks.
Enchi 2K7 $5. Geordi is a word wizard. He gets caught with that hollow recreation, turns it back on Leah. Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, that's what a lot of people do when they get caught with something. They can turn it around instantly, and
There's a plane.
even
There's a plane.
yes, there's a plane. It's a DC-10 actually, and then there's an exocomp
Yeah, I
in
thought
the
it was
shuttle bay.
Yeah.
Large exocomp in front of a Porsche.
Large empty
I
space.
just love all the little Easter eggs on that MSD.
But this is a good little scene because she comes in very professional but a little bit awkward, and he is like, "Yep," like he professional. You know, these guys are professional at the end of the day. You know, he listens, and this is the moment where this is where their chemistry was problem solving instantly because and you buy it like it's nice, especially when what just happened. But you buy it. This is where their chemistry. This is the rapport they have. This is what they were missing. It isn't just talking. It's bonding over being genuinely geniuses, even though it's a really simple idea. They're still geniuses in their own way. So it's a really nice, refreshing little bit, and you obviously wish there was a bit more of this, etc.
Well, yeah. She goes to the whole, it's suckling essentially. We need to find a way to sour the milk, which is a great way to describe it, and that's why I always
Simple.
connect.
Yeah.
That's why I always connect this part 2 with the galaxy's bait, the scene thing on the ship. So
I can see that. I just didn't for me, but that was just because I.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't connect them originally, then it's hard to then double connect them because you didn't originally. You know.
Yeah. Area 51 though throws in $2. They're coming right for us. Eventually. We'll eventually get here.
Maybe, yes.
So they trying to find a way to make the milk less palatable to it, or the energy, so that it will, and everything in the universe or anything in space vibrates at 21 centimeters. Okay.
Yeah, I was a bit
the radiation band.
It was. I liked they explained it, but I was a little bit like, right.
I wish they would have said something different than 21 centimeters, like 21 centimeters, blah blah blah. Some kind. I know it's the radiation frequency, whatever, but it just sounded dumb.
A
Like
little bit.
21 centimeters. No, Leah, I'm bigger than that. I'm not your husband.
Well, yeah, it's another, yeah, a bit inorganic again. Yeah.
But she's like, "Oh, that's good, that's really good, Commander. We could alter the power frequency." It's like, okay. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's the scenes felt a little disingenuous. It was too quick, but
Well, they didn't fully technobabble it. They just sort of had a thing and stuck with it. It wasn't quite as developed.
And then his analogy would pour a little vinegar in the baby's milk. If we do it gradually enough, maybe it'll just lose interest as opposed to like destroying the goddamn ship.
Yeah, that would be bad.
So,
that would be a shame. We like the ship, but it's good to see them work together.
Oh, and then I don't know if you noticed this, but he goes, "We'll forge to bridge," and he completely misses his freaking comm badge.
Well,
like, completely. He doesn't even tap it. If I like frame by framed it, and he missed it, but it's okay. The wind from his hand.
See, I thought he did, but like barest of taps. But it definitely was a miss.
Maybe his finger brushed the edge of it. Maybe. You think if you're an actor and you do that and you don't feel it, you'd try again. But I don't know.
Puzzle day they're having, I can imagine. Busy.
Yeah, it's like 4 a.m. in the morning and they want to go home at this point because usually they were filming pretty late. So.
But yeah, I suddenly noticed that. I was like, oops. But it's okay. It's okay.
Then we get the shot of them, the three of them coming in again, which looks really good.
And then they plan it, and then I was
weird close up of Picard.
Yes,
like, super weird close up and weird angle, and then he backs up, and it just that's framed nicely, but that close up was just like, hi guys.
And also he looks older. Like,
oh yeah,
you say Patrick doesn't age. Well, if you actually look up this close to his wrinkles, it's like, yeah, he looked old back then. You know, in the context of his wrinkles, etc.
Yeah.
But then you get somewhat an odd scene. The lowering of the percentages beyond, like, lower than 1 and 0.0. It takes a long time and doesn't quite feel organic.
Yeah, she goes reading 18, 15, 13, 11, 8, 5, 3, now at the 2 centimeter level. Any reaction, Bridge?
And it's like, it was that quick. How is that gradual? That's 80% in 4 seconds. Sorry, how is that?
But it's this as opposed to doing or off.
I know, but it's not gradual. It's not instant. I wish it was slightly more gradual than instant. You know, so it's a bit of a there's no tension really in the scene, because
What I mean.
Again, no budget, so they couldn't cut out something going like, or like there's no sound effects, there's no build up. It's just like, I'm saying numbers quickly, and it's not working yet.
Yes.
And there's a little bit of lights, but it doesn't.
And I can't even. Yeah, that's the thing. The lights aren't flickering at this point. She's just saying the numbers, and that's it. That's what I meant by no tension.
Yeah.
Even the music, I can't remember being like.
Yep.
Intimidating or like ramping things up. So. But then they go to point 2, and then that kind of gets its attention. And the other creatures start moving a little bit faster, and Worf's reaction to this is they're changing color. Find that they're changing color.
Yes, Mr. Worf, unhelpful.
I have eyes, my friend. Yes. There's energy buildup within the creatures.
Nope.
They could be getting ready to attack us like the other one. Then it's like, oh, okay, now 3 of them attacking with the same amount of radiation. God damn, that's terrifying. Yes, but it's not said. They're changing colors.
Captain, they're going rainbow. Rainbow, Mr. Worf. Rainbow. What does that mean? Don't know. Just an observation. Why are you yelling?
Plaid. They've gone plaid at ludicrous speed.
Yeah,
that's from Spaceballs.
They've gone double denim. Never go double denim. Yeah, it's a weird. I mean, it's just disconnect. And the fact that it takes so, what was it, like 13 to 0.02, and it didn't notice until yeah.
0.02 is when it noticed.
Yeah.
And then it disconnected by the time they got to 0.
It's too long. It needed more. It needed something else. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. But yes, it does leave. We don't see it leave because that's expensive. And then power gains. It goes quite a nice moment. It's see the creatures. Good bit of CGI and miniature all combined. They do feel a little bit of life. It's pretty effective. And it's like, it worked. And then they're like, we're going to get out of here now. And everyone's like, yes, sir. That's a good idea. Ha, ha, ha. Leave.
Yeah. Then you get their whole little moment here where, I did get a little attached to that lady in the holodeck. I got to admit, the things we did. Oh, no, I can't say that yet. But the computer never told you I was married. Well, the computer has a knack for it's notorious for not volunteering information.
Yes.
And then the very flirty kind of nature of, I need to apologize to you and, whatever. So is this the impetus for her leaving her husband now because she's met this guy who knew everything about her beforehand?
Yeah, it's
like,
It is weird how she's so okay with it. Like, I get it. It was a genuine misunderstanding with a genuine, like, he would do everything right the first time around without, as in, he did a thing to help the ship. It worked. It just happened to be more real than he was expecting. They didn't do anything, didn't kiss, didn't do anything wrong. He just got more emotionally attached than he should have. But he also did explicitly say a few times, or just good friends. So he wasn't purely saying, I love you, Leah. Like, the balance was there. But it is weird to... Obviously, they had a good heart-to-heart and it was worked out. But it is weird how it suddenly becomes very cordial. There's still a distance from each other, which is nice. And even, like, their chairs. Like, they're leaning in, but they're also far apart. They're not at, like we see how Riker and they're all, like, right on their chairs. These are, like, yeah, they're far away. They're not personable. And yet they still have that sort of vague chemistry. It's like potential chemistry rather than yet.
Yeah. But they got that story, the whole, if you had told me from the beginning, I wouldn't have been able to see the look on your face. The look on your face was awesome.
It's like,
the look on my face. Yeah.
Would you?
So that's the story they'll be telling their kids and their grandkids.
Then I divorced your dad because this guy right here. I mean,
Exactly.
come on. He chose not to have sex with a holographic me on a holodeck one time. I mean, come on. I knew. I just knew.
Well, wait till they get together and they start having sex. It's like, want to try this? No, I don't think. Trust me, you'd like it. What? Wow.
Well, that's the payoff. Wow, that's whoo.
You'd learn to like it, maybe. I don't know. That's what I meant. Yeah. Anyway. But then the Worf, they get an offer about Worf, who's got an incoming transmission for her, and it's her husband. And she's like, yeah, it's my husband. And then she kind of walks away, and she's got a very almost sad look on her face. Like, oh, no, I have to go talk to my husband. When I want to talk to this nice man. I don't know. Bugs me a little bit that, this could have been ruined. This could have been the ruination of their relationship.
I mean, I think that's a little bit extrapolatory, but obviously I didn't remember he was married. You kind of get the sense that she's hard to deal with sometimes. And therefore, maybe it was more about, she picked work over him one time too many. Whereas Geordie is also all about the work, and therefore is the balance better, It's like two people that want to live for a hobby can do the hobby together.
It's like one of them is Rutherford and one is Billups. They both love their engineering so much that they have a lot in common.
Yeah, but it's a little bit of an odd ending, especially after the last few scenes. It basically needed like 7 minutes to develop it more and give it more of an organic feel. I do kind of like, though, that Joy doesn't say anything else. Like, it's my husband, walks away, no more dialogue, no more vibe, just... Like, again, he's not being creepy. They've found a mutual respect, found a camaraderie ship, and he's not pursuing, he's accepting, and also just like, yeah, I mean, we're not here to hang out. You're here to look at my engine, / you're here to look at your engine that I've changed.
Dirty. That's dirty.
There you go. So yeah, it's interesting, but also, yeah, a bit of chemistry as well.
Yeah.
Basically, she should have come
Well,
back.
that's it,
And
guys.
she should have come back and not in
Put in.
DS9, is what I mean.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that's it, guys. This is the time where you super chat your scores so that I can read them after we give our scores. And if you don't want to super chat, which we'd really appreciate if you could,
Yeah,
a few more would be great.
$43 minimum. It's quite a lot, but you know,
if you can, cool. If not, just put your scores in the regular chat, and Samuel will read those later. So it's all a question of whether you want me to read them or Samuel. So you can determine right now
English
whose feelings you're going to crush
or Canadian accent.
That's right. And I'll take it personally because that's what I do. Samuel probably won't care, so it's up to you guys whether you want to super chat or not. So anyway, that being said, this is a memorable episode because it does bring in a Leah again, which is great.
Continuity, Stuart. Nice. What the hell?
What's that?
Continuity, Stuart. What the hell? For TNG? What?
Yeah. Plus the whole idea of space creatures. I mean, yes, we got one in Encounter at Farpoint, and we don't see them as often as I'd kind of like to. It's a nice, interesting idea. And even in games like Starfleet Battles, you have space monsters. You sometimes have to
yes, you do.
Stuff.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So it's just a neat idea, and it's one that sticks out in your memory, but it's like you remember, okay, the thing attaches to the Enterprise, Leah's on board, her and Geordi have a little thing, like a little argument, and then they sour the milk, and that's all you remember from this episode. You know why? Because that's all there is to this episode. There's no real stakes, there's no real tension, there's no real build-up in my mind anyway. It's just kind of it's okay, but it is memorable for different reasons. So it's an odd one. It's one that I'll rewatch if it's on, and you always get more out of it each time because it's like, okay, you get the little nuances and stuff, but as a whole, it's just kind of, it's good, but it's not super impressive. So for season 4, it's gonna have to get a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, for all of TNG, it's probably going to get a 6.5 or 6.5 out of 10 as well. Just because it's good. It's not, it's not the worst. It's not the lower end, but it's better than average. But then there's just not much to it. So it's memorable without having a lot in it, which is kind of a weird thing. So yeah, that's kind of where I am thought wise. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's a gentle ride. It's a very TOS episode, but without that character dynamic of the three. Very classic sci-fi. You definitely feel like you're at home in this one with the crew, the vibe. Leah does give her all. Her writing is a little bit inconsistent, but for the most part, good. Geordi is good to see do other things. The balance is hard to do, but done well for the most part. Didn't quite get a good payoff with the holodeck scene, but the rest of the scenes are good. They work well together. Definitely makes you want a trilogy of Leah Brahms appearances, which you never get, which is definitely sad because you definitely would have had should have been a season 7. Bring her back. Been great.
Well, and then she's mentioned in All Good Things. If you want to think that that's the same Leah, so there you go. They get married eventually.
But that would have been kind of cool though in season 7 if she came back and he's like, "So how's your husband? We got a divorce. Oh, how come?"
I met somebody.
Or he died with Borg. I mean, he could be very literal. He died against, I mean,
I'd appreciate that more than her leaving him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, this being the impetus of her relationship falling apart bugs me.
Yeah, exactly. So, he died on a mission to, somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the problem is it's extremely good classic Trek, but hasn't got the bite or the sharpness of other episodes which have a thing. You almost needed, and it's weird, like, I was about to say, you almost needed, like, some level of interaction with Data to kind of have the Data, Geordi, twosome, like, some of those really witty bits, but they're so focused on the two plots. They spend so much time on the creature, and I was watching Brent and Riker, or Brent and Frakes, and all of the dialogue for the most part, apart from Riker's smile, is just could be said by anybody. Technical, completely uncharacterful, and then Picard is better, but he's always good more. And then everything else is so it's a complicated situation with lots of steps, but because there's so much happening, but it's obviously in a straightforward line, you don't get much character. You almost need less steps, like almost find the baby with the mum dead, then it grab hold of you, skips a good 15 minutes, have more character lines, have some Data help Leah. Maybe Data's the one that lets slip that he had already worked with you for several days, and she's like, what? You know, you could have had a more interesting dynamic there. I think probably the benefit of this one, less focus on the story and more focus on the characters, which is weird because obviously half the story is about the characters, but yeah, so it could have been given that extra bit of sharpness. But like I said, if you want to watch like a good classic TNG with very little wrong with it, this one's definitely it. This season is definitely not a strong runner for this season because this season is such a strong runner. Like if this was a season 1, it would be like, damn, that was solid in every way. You know,
it'll be an 8.
Yeah,
season 1 for my scoring, I think.
Yeah. So this season, I think you're about the mark. I'm going to say a 6 for this season. Above average, but not good. But I do think overall for TNG, I think it's going to be a 7 or 7.5 because it's a good overall episode. You know, so I'm going to say 6 for the season, 7 for all, which is like one lower than one higher than you. So I think it does its job well. It's just missing that bite.
And Rebel Poet 71 says, is 10 forward the only bar on the entire ship? Absolutely not. There are many other little bars and little meeting rooms. And
you know,
stuff,
I mean,
so.
every quarters is its own bar. Computer, gin. Zzz. Computer, make it alcoholic. Thank you.
Good choice. Gin is the panty remover. So there you go. We got one. We got one super chat.
Mr. Jericho says, Geordie married the daughter. Oh, God. Also named Leah? What?
Leah Jr. Get it? Leah and Jr. in the same episode. Leah Jr.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, it was super weird.
Because Leah feels almost younger than Geordie. Or like a year.
Oh, she is. I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got one super chat score,
oh, goodness.
Which is one of our moderators even. So I see how it is, guys, and it's fine. No, it's fine.
Come on, $16. Round us up. Round us up.
We should have done it the other way, where they super chat for you to read it out, because you know the British accent and all.
Well, hey, still time. Still time. Put your scores now.
Brunt FCA $5, 7 out of 10 for season 4, 6 out of 10 for TNG. It was memorable in that I remember the A and B plots, and that Geordi didn't delete his holodeck history and spoiled milk. Yeah.
It's tricky, isn't it? Who's gonna go back and watch that program? It's so specific.
See, that's the thing. It's at the end of the program when she walks in, like, and it's not at the very end, so it's like he watched the whole thing again. It's like when you go on Netflix or YouTube, you only watch a certain amount and you start the thing back up where it left off. He was right at the end of the episode. It's like he watched it. But did he create other holodeck programs with her?
I can't see that.
That's the thing. Just take that character computer and put it in, program number 5. So,
okay, so I guess I'll read the non-super chat scores then, as there are a few of those.
Go for it.
Let's see. So we said 6.5 and 7. Let's see what you guys said. 6.5, 6.5, 7, 6. Below 5 says Rebel. 7, not great, not terrible. Shannon. 6 out of 10. Final comments. Should have been a giant tardigrade. There's the remaster. And that was it. Not many scores at all, guys. 85 of you, and not many of you actually chatted, but put scores in.
That was it. Did you read Olivia's? She's did a 3.5. 3.5 out of 5.
Oh yeah, I don't look at people's faces, but that's okay.
That thing you can't find throws in $50. And thank you. You just saved our bacon for this live. So
Ah,
awesome.
gosh.
They must really like me because they put in such a great super chat and I get to read it.
It sounds like you have to read it in the most sexy $50 voice possible and the most Canadian accent because not just it's for you, it's for the so full sexy Canadian, Stuart. Okay, set the scene.
Can't even do a Canadian accent though.
Yes, you can, eh? Add A's. Add A's to every part of it. Right. Welcome everyone to the super chat by Stuart Foley, Captain, the Canadian, the sexy Canadian. Is everyone ready? Are you ready? Okay, ready, Stuart? Go for it.
6.5 out of 10. I like both A, and B, plot. It's fun to see Jordy act like a boy meeting his crush, and I would rewatch if it is on. But like you said, Cap, it's meh. A. Also found some money for you guys. A. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Superb.
It just gave us that what we needed for this live and
takes the pressure off a little bit. Yeah.
You saved our bacon, so thank you very much.
Fried the bacon, you handed it to us, and it was good.
And it was back bacon, Canadian. There you go.
Which we have the same bacons. Americans have weird bacon.
Well, back bacon is just ham, so you know.
Mm.
Anyway, Brian Straight, $5, 8 out of 10.
Oh, an 8.
For the season, probably say the name for the series.
Nope.
Say the same for the series.
There you go.
Always an enjoyable one for me. Missed the show today, but keep going strong, guys. Well, thank you very much, Brian.
What do you try?
8 out of 10 for the season and the series.
And 6 says Shannon as well. So yeah, I mean, pretty. We're on point score wise. Yeah. Was pretty good.
There you go.
But, and I'll tease it. You can let Pill know. So tomorrow for our live, we're going to talk about something that today kind of factors into. So Stuart, what are we talking about tomorrow for our live?
Holodeck stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the holodeck was taken too far in the last episode of Lower Decks with the whole disintegrating your shipmates and your friends
and torturing cat doctors. Yes, but
we did film an episode today talking about holodeck security,
but it's different
and personal logs being used, and that was funny because then we're like, what do we want to do for live? Well, let's do a review. Guess what? It's Galaxy's Child where Leah Brahms comes back.
Yep.
Like, wow, really? We just talked about that. So yeah. We'll probably have that discussion leach into tomorrow's live as well. So.
Certainly. And not just that, we're going to go into some of the holodeck. You know, everything is one way when you watch it, but when you suddenly bring to context, it's like there's a few lines in Discovery which people are like, this doesn't make sense. Then you say, oh, well, in TNG Season 3, Episode 4, they did the exact same thing, you know, but people forget. So we're going to go through a few other holodeck episodes where the extremes are also taken to, and see if by the end of that conversation, it's going to feel as dramatic as it felt actually watching the episode, at least for me anyway. So hopefully you guys are interested in that. Sort of a holodeck, the extremes of the holodecks, I guess, is a good way of saying it for tomorrow. So join in. And then obviously predictions on Wednesday, Stuart's first reaction on Thursday for the season finale. That is sad, real sad. And then we have the review live on Friday, whatever comes out on Saturday. Both of us are going to binge watch Lower Decks on Saturday. All of it again. And then Sunday, the booze will be drank.
Will flow.
But as you guys know, for Drunk Live, we have no control over how much we drink. It's a fully Super Chat sponsored thing. So if we get 50s, our bladders will get 50s. If we don't get any, our bladders are happy. And, punishment to our bladder, liver. Well, both to be fair, but...
that thing you can't find, I'm glad you put that in today, because if you do that on Sunday, it will probably be dead. So
also, save up if you want to find another 50 under the couch, as you sort of said. And I'm going to be, hopefully, revealing some new Trek costumes I've got since the last Drunk Live. And so there'll be a Super Chat. We're going to do another graph again for what you sponsor. But there'll be a one for... me swapping costumes, maybe even Stuart have a couple of costumes.
And we haven't really told them what the topic for the Sunday is. We said it's drunk, but we didn't say what it's about.
Oh, sorry, it's retrospective of the entire season.
Yes, of Lower Decks.
Sorry.
We're going to talk about it.
That's why I said
Sorry,
rewatch it. Yeah, you're right. I missed one step.
You kind of went sidelined a little
I
bit
did.
there, and people might be like, what the hell's
did.
going on?
So that's going to be definitely one to watch. We'll see. We'll give it. I will tell Stuart what his favourite of the season is. I will tell you what your favourites are, and we're going to make our new score sheet, having rewatched it and given see if those scores match what you said previously. That'd be because we haven't I have the sort of sheet in front of me, but I ignore my own score. I just look at your score for anyway. And like I say, super chat for costume changes, a high super chat for the new costumes. It'd be fun to see. Probably episode synopsis is little bits of bonus things as well, because it is a fun live to be had.
Olivia asked if it's going to be a puggy. Yes, absolutely. It'll be an afternoon live, so it won't be
Sunday
this time of day. So yeah, there'll be a different vibe. It's Sunday thing, so yeah, there'll be other stuff going on.
Although I think I'm getting confused because we are doing the anniversary one as well. Am I thinking is the costume change for the anniversary one?
I don't know. We're doing that on the 14th.
Don't know either.
That's the Wednesday right after.
It is. There's two, but later on.
Brunt FCA puts in $2. I think I have 100 floating around. Evil laugh. Well, be nice, be generous, but don't wreck us. I mean, you can. You have that power. So.
Yeah, we literally at a certain point, we're the hands of the fates. But thanks. I mean, that's brilliant. It helps our months tremendously, and obviously you have a lot of fun.
Rebel Poet 71. Every October show should be in costume because it's Halloween month. Damn.
Yeah, Wednesday, 31st. I mean, that's a Saturday. I mean,
31st is a Saturday.
We should do that. We should do whatever video we end up making for that Saturday in costume. Happy Halloween.
I'd be down for that.
We pre-filmed this.
And it doesn't have to be Star Trek costume because it's Halloween, so we can be anything.
Yeah, if anything, it shouldn't be. Whatever.
And Shannon, yes, we did. The STO rendered out the Discovery ISS Defiant. It's a funky, cool design. We'll have to talk about that at some point. In the meantime, we did share today on the Facebook page our original look at that, where Samuel kind of reconstructed it based on the wireframe.
More prime.
Before we saw the Disco Prize. So before to check that out, our first thoughts on it.
It wasn't even remotely thought of at that point, because we know the Disco Prize was commissioned way later in the process than obviously it should have been.
Yeah.
It was kind of rushed into existing. And just reiterate what's funny about that one, that kit bash, is I was actually using the actual USS Defiant model as used in Intimate Darkly, so I was actually literally kit bashing the real Defiant to make this fictional kit bash of the Defiant. Which is kind of surreal when you think about it. I even made some animations, guys. I don't know if you guys remember. I did a couple of those. Let me have a look. Trekyards. Because they were quite fun. Sort of did them just why not, but... Yeah. I called it Terran Upgrade. 7,000 views. And because that model looks so good with... that Koji and Rob made. Yeah, that's weird. I did that really well, actually. Huh. Yeah, I nicked the mega phases from Fabio's Defiant model. Miranda model. Nice. Informs post on that. It's now out on Stowe. Nope, 2 years ago was the last comment. Guys, go comment on that link. Let me post the link.
It was January 2018 that video came out.
Gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, go check out the Facebook page, and it's one of the announcements. So go check out the video, watch it, and leave a modern comment about it.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But, yeah. Well, anyway, there's lots of cool stuff coming out in the next week or so, and then we got the first episode of Discovery Season 3.
Do join in for that. Seriously.
Yes. It's going to be a busy week with the finale on Friday, the Drunk Live on Sunday, then our regular lives, regular content, and then our anniversary on the 14th for 6 years of Trekyards, and then Friday for the first episode of Season 3 of Discovery. So there's a lot going on this week.
And obviously expect lots of follow-up videos, because that'll be the big, oh my god, it's the 2900s, holy shit! Or 3100s, or whenever it is.
It's the future.
It's the future. So until the future, guys.
It's clever.
Here's Captain Foley.
I am Captain Foley. That's all you need to know.
It is.
No one else is important.
No doubt.
Except for Commander Cocky. That's him. There he is.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.